Hello, I am RedactedNPC. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Namekian Speedruns the Android Saga. So, right off the bat, a few things I want to point out. One, there is a photosensitivity warning for anyone who has issues with light or causing seizures or things like that. I will add text that goes over all the sensitivity warning, and I will make sure that we will go through slowly just so that you can understand what it is you missed. And two, we're going to talk about the thumbnail before the preview. So the thumbnail is Piccolo with Cheat Engine in the background. If you've never used Cheat Engine, this is something that I used to use back in the early 2000s. It allows you to modify some code, let's say, in the game you're playing. So a lot of times I would use it for single player games where I don't feel like grinding for money. I would just change the number of my money from whatever small amount to infinite. Or I would change the number of a specific item I had from being 3 to like 99. Things like that. So I used it for this one because I was trying to keep that everyone looking smug or finding some way to skip through the game really quickly. I couldn't think of anything else for Piccolo, and keep in mind that sky background, because that sky background gets used somewhere else. That Piccolo I cut out somewhere. So the last thing to talk about is the preview. As with last time, the preview wasn't made until after the episode, after the video edits were all put together. I just cut some stuff up randomly and then I threw together some text. So let's go ahead and mute this music. I don't think I have to mute the music actually.
勝つことばかりに気を取られて、相手が誰であろうとお前の成長ぶりを確かめてやろう。俺が背中を守ってやる。心配するな。全力で戦え。やるな。だが勝負はこれからだ。そんな危険を冒してまでなんて野郎だ。
Okay, so pretty straightforward. This one, the last preview was Goku and Gohan together, and this one is primarily Piccolo's point of view. So he narrates what goes on throughout the episode, but for the most part, we're just looking at Piccolo doing whatever he does in this episode. I also wanted to try and add some images that I didn't use in the actual episode, but some clips, I had already deleted them, unfortunately. And then finally, I wanted to give some suspense. I know that the focus of this is supposed to be Goku, or it's supposed to be Piccolo, but I still wanted to add Goku in there. So let's go ahead. Oh, the inspiration. So I thought a really fun and smart way to make the Namekians relevant again would be to have them all fuse into one individual. You might not believe me when I say this, but I came up with this plan before we saw the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Super came out and they said, "Hey, guess what? We got all the powerful Namekians on this universe's planet. We got them together and we just fused them into two people." So they ended up doing essentially what I was intending to do to make Piccolo relevant again, but it's a little different. In mine, it's every single Namekian, and we'll talk about a little bit more, but that's essentially what it was. I also wrote this after realizing it would be best to have different people be the quote-unquote main character, rather than just having Goku be the main character for them all. This allows people like Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, all their fans, all their stans, this allows them to have something more to enjoy. There was a video I made where I said the main character isn't Goku, and It was a joke video, a one-off, where Krillin was the main character of the Namek Saga because he's played so much Kingdom Hearts. If you haven't watched it already, go watch it. But this was made when there was a comment that said, oh, I thought Piccolo was going to be the main character. And I thought, you know what? Just for you, I will make Piccolo the main character for one of my videos. This is, of course, back before I actually had the idea for this video. And the last thing to mention before we get started is that the sound effect for peeling the apple, take a good listen to it. Closing the book, biting, chewing, all of these things, it was really fun to add the sound effects for this. So I just wanted to, for this initial scene, so that we can get some context. We don't just jump right into the middle of things. I know last time we left off with Gohan killing Frieza. I just wanted to give a bit of background so that people could know, okay, we're back on Earth. Looks like Gohan is healing. What's going on here?
ここに。はい。あなたのお父さんはいつ帰ってくるのかしら。
こんな感じでいいのかな。
彼はまだ生きていますね。多分彼は。
First thing here, of course, is to notice that Gohan doesn't want to talk about Namek to anyone, and Goku hasn't returned back to Earth. It's just meant to get people thinking, what's going on? How did this happen? If they didn't come back together, what's happening? The truth is that Gohan hates Goku, and we'll get into this more in the latter half of this episode, but this should be your first instance of, that's strange. Why wouldn't Gohan tell them about Namek? I wonder what's going on here. So this clip, this entire hospital scene is actually after everyone had fought the Saiyans during the Saiyan invasion. Oh, and I had to take out Chi-Chi's face there, but you'll notice there's actually, the room is filled with people. This is, part of it is from when Goku is getting ready to go to Namek, and part of it is immediately after the Saiyan invasion, once the Saiyans have been defeated and Gohan, Krillin, everyone is getting ready, Bulma, everyone's getting ready to go to Namek. I just cut together those different episodes. You can see the episode numbers over here. I cut those all together to try and make it one consistent video. It looks all very fluid, but this is all very disjointed when I was trying to put it together. You'll also notice, or try and notice, Chi-Chi's voice is actually text-to-speech. I didn't have any good female voice lines that had the emotion or had the lines I was using. So it ended up sounding pretty good to me, but it also could be good because I don't speak Japanese. The same reason why people say that subs sound better than dubs. It sounds better because you don't actually speak Japanese, so you don't recognize how cringy the dialogue actually sounds. But when you listen to the dub, unless you're able to suspend your disbelief, you realize, yeah, people don't talk like that. That's weird. But ended up coming out pretty good, and I'm happy with it. This is probably the only episode where the Japanese text will actually match what I had the characters saying, because I just took what I wanted them to say, put it in Google Translate to Japanese, and then used a text-to-speech for a Japanese voice. Here, Gohan is watching Ben 10 because this is something I watched in my childhood. If you zoom in, you can actually see, I've cut the image to go along with the TV. Normally it's just a nice angle. I thought about adding a show called Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, because Gohan is Saiyan and, monkeys. But I decided not to add it because I haven't actually watched that. I wanted to make small references to things that I've watched as a kid, so that things that people who are my age, this is your nostalgia thing. You go back and you're like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I remember. So I added this. I went and I found a Japanese cover of the song, and I slapped that in there. As usual, notice the directionality. The song is over here to the right because the TV is to the right, and we'll keep switching back and forth. It's just something that I enjoy doing in my videos.
少し休んでみませんか?
はい。
In this clip, originally I had Chi-Chi crying on the other side of the screen because she's distraught, one, that Gohan yelled at her, and two, that Goku still isn't back. The problem is this scene doesn't last long enough for me to have her walk out, close the door, take a moment, and then start crying, and have it be muffled. It all happened too quickly. What ended up happening was walk, open the door, close the door, she's crying. It's too quick. There's still a remnant of me doing that. You see Gohan turning to look at her, but that's originally what was going to happen there.
Goku, あなたは世界のどこにいることができますか?
Here is the hidden subscribe text. So, as usual, I give it a Gaussian blur and I decrease the opacity. I just had it hidden behind some clouds this time. This 5 years later text, I thought about having it hidden behind the cloud and the cloud would slowly reveal it. The problem is that the background is still very light colored. So when I was trying to do rotoscoping via the computer, it was having difficulty distinguishing between the cloud and the background. Additionally, these edges aren't very sharp, so it ended up just looking very weird. It wasn't nice and clean. So instead, I just had 5 years later fade in because there's no other reason for us to spend time in the Namek saga. You know, there's usually there was a time skip after Namek anyway. So this scene took a little bit of thought when it came to sound engineering. I needed to find something that had a city that was busy, but not too busy, because you can see here, there aren't really a lot of people shown throughout this bit. There are a few, but a lot of the city life or things I was hearing, a lot of it had a lot of people talking or a lot of cars driving or things like that, and it didn't match the visuals, so it took me a while to find something like that. I also then went and added my own sound effects for the cars driving. So a few things here. I very much love this introduction of the androids. It's just a normal day. Because Gohan, Goku, and Piccolo didn't warn everyone else about anything that was going on in the future, nobody knows what's going to happen. So this is how it happened in Trunks' timeline. They didn't know the androids were going to appear. It was just like any other day, I think May 10th. Any other day, androids came and were destroying the city. There was no preliminary knowledge about them. With the Saiyans, yeah, Raditz came out of nowhere, but then he warned them about Vegeta and Nappa, so they knew to prepare for them. With Namek, people knew about Frieza. He was a known entity. And so you were warned, he's very powerful, watch out for him. But here, the androids, there's nothing. They just appear. Second thing is that I debated whether I should add the heal sound effect when this part of the toe touches. I decided to add it, and I think that was the right choice. It's very pleasing hearing the click, click, click of the heels. And then we just fade out because the androids start wreaking havoc, and I didn't feel like showing them. There were a lot of different clips of them killing random normal people. There was no reason for me to actually show that. We can just have a nice implied with the one lady screaming, then more and more chaos. Couple things. So one, I used during the Namek video, I talked about how difficult it was to find the sound of blood dripping that was satisfying. I think I ended up just using water here because I said it's good enough. Two, or I guess I did find something that I considered blood. Two, the hydraulic arm here, I added, it was used in the previous video, 102, where Android 19 was opening his hand to grab Goku, but I reused it here because I still just really think it's hilarious, the idea of the androids sounding like a vending machine. And then three, we're about to see Tien trying to fight the androids, and Piccolo's just watching. So the only point of this, and this was actually originally other people come to join him, but the only point of this was to show that Piccolo was back on Earth. This original clip was when the androids did show up, and so they were like, okay, well, let's go look for them, and then they did. The only purpose of these scenes here is to show that they moved to a different environment, because the rest of this episode with Piccolo happens in a wasteland. So I don't have any, I need to show we're no longer in the city, we're moving on. So that's why I added this little, and the fade in from black here, all just to reset the pace. Giro's here. Giro, his voice is again text to speech. It doesn't originally sound like this, but what I did is I went and I learned how to make a robot voice sound effect, and I applied it to him. These first few, you'll notice that so part of making the robot text sound effect is layering another level of that same voice, but just a little bit off. I forget the actual method of it now because it's been over a year since I've made this, but what you'll notice is that if you listen closely, that second voice starts to go further and further out. It starts to desync more and more. So it took me a while to figure out how best to do this, but around, I think this one is when I start making the voice sound a little bit better. Does that make sense? Basically, it starts sounding, as the sentence becomes longer, it sounds like two people are trying to talk, but they're getting out of sync. So I just went and I fixed that. I also used a Factorio sound effect here for the Ladybug, the Spybot, because this is around the time I started playing Factorio. I had put off playing Factorio for several years because based on the small amount I had heard about it at that time, it sounded like the kind of game that I would absolutely love and get addicted to. So I waited until I had a good chunk of months where I could spend all day playing, or all my free time playing, and it wouldn't impact me too much. I figured that text-to-speech would be okay for Giro because even if the text-to-speech sounds a little bit janky, he's a robot, so it just fits in with some of that.
私のロボットは何年もあなたを見守ってきました。あなたの戦いを分析しています。攻撃パターンを学習します。機械設備を整えました。あなたの戦闘力を超えるために必要です。当然、それは私たちができることも意味します。あなたのスーパーサイヤ人、変身を処理します。
So originally, in original Dragon Ball Z, Giro says that, yeah, my Ladybug robot has been following you for quite a while, and it even saw when these Saiyans came to attack Earth. which means, and it wasn't able to follow them during Namek, so Gero is surprised when he sees the Super Saiyan transformation, and it turns out that he gets destroyed, or he isn't as powerful because he expected Goku to be a lot weaker. Super Saiyan transformation makes you 50 times more powerful. But in this timeline, Goku turned Super Saiyan during the Saiyan invasion, which means Gero is aware of it, and he was able to make a robot that's strong enough to handle it. The reason being is that it's never shown exactly how powerful 19 and 20 are. They're around the power of Piccolo or so after he's fused with Neo. But the point is, these robots were still expecting Saiyan Saga Goku in terms of strength, and they were far, far more powerful than that. So if Gero is able to see, okay, well, he has this thing called Super Saiyan, he's going to be a lot more powerful, then he can make a robot who is still far, far more powerful than the Super Saiyan, which is why Vegeta is yet again getting jobbed. Also, these clips of Vegeta that you're about to see are from when he's fighting 18, because originally he destroys 19. So I just had to cut it together. Like this clip here is originally 19 staring down Vegeta, and then Vegeta turns Super Saiyan and beats up 19. So I just spliced it together a little bit more.
さて、孫悟空がどこにいるか教えてくれませんか？それとも、私たちがしたことをあなたにする必要がありますか？あなたの友達に。
So finally we reveal that Gero is talking to Piccolo, showing Tien just because he was fighting the androids before and we know he got bodied.
そうだな。
いいえ、あなたは私たちに言わないか。いや。
So take a listen to this dialogue, by which I mean actually listen to what Gero says here. I figured since I'm making this text-to-speech, I can have him say whatever I want, that I would just have a little bit of fun with it. I was very happy that the Japanese text-to-speech was able to still speak with a Japanese accent, even though I gave it an English prompt.
What in the actual fact? 彼はかつてとても弱かった。どうしたの？え、何？ What in the hell are you?
勝つことばかりに気を取られて、相手が誰であろうと全力で戦え。
No、自分で説明してください。こんなに短い間に何があったんだ。それがあなたをこれほど強力にしたのですか？
So, for these upcoming clips, I just took Frieza's men and Vegeta fighting against the Namekians, and I spliced it together to make it look like the Namekians were training one another. I ended up not mentioning this because the music was reaching its apex, and I was running out of time, but the plan was that the Namekians would train, then lay eggs, then train the eggs, and they would just repeat that over and over since Namekians seem to grow really quickly. If I'm not mistaken, after King Piccolo laid Piccolo Jr., it took about 4 years for Piccolo Jr. to grow to the size that he is now. He doesn't stay a child for very long, so the idea was that they would just keep training, and every single Namekian would lay an egg, train that egg, keep training, keep doing that over and over again. Their population can grow exponentially because it only takes one Namekian to make one Namekian. And one Namekian can make several eggs all at once, because I think there's a scene where King Piccolo lays several eggs at once, but I could be mistaken.
完全体とやらにさせるわけにはいかんぞ。戦いが得意なのは何もサイヤ人だけじゃないんだぜ。ここで貴様の息の根を止めてやろう。俺も本気でやらせてもらうとしよう。現れたな、化け物め。生半可な覚悟で地球へ来たこと後悔させてやるぜ。ずいぶん成長しやがって手加減はいらんようだな。
Also notice that here he keeps using the pronoun of we rather than just saying I or me. And if you've watched the video, which I imagine you would, I don't imagine you would be here if you hadn't already seen. If you watch the video, you know that he is the fusion of all Namekians on Namek. So in my telling of this story, in this alternate universe, Piccolo is the strongest in the universe, stronger than even Goku, because he's the fusion of literally thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, an entire planet's worth of Namekians.
誰よりも一番楽しみにしていたはずだ。
The idea of them training not only attack power but also healing was just to try and make them the ultimate warrior. And even though this isn't technically still Piccolo, I'm just going to refer to him as Piccolo because it's just going to happen. It's going to keep slipping out. But this is also meant to be a reference to how in the dub it's mentioned that there are two types of Namekians, two clans. There's the Dragon Clan that makes the Dragon Balls, and then there's like the Warrior Clan or something like that that protects and fights. So the Dragon Clan is able to heal people, they're able to make the Dragon Balls. It's who Dende is, and it's part of who Kami split to become.
トレーニングの量はありませんでした。こんなに早くこんなにパワフルに何百万年もかかったはずです。
強くなったな。よくやったな。正直言って見せてみろ、貴様の実力を。そこまでだ。次はこんな優しいしごきじゃないぞ。ここまでできるとは思ってなかったぜ。
Here is the photosensitivity warning. So if you have issues with flashing lights, I'm just about to show Piccolo fusing with Nail. So close your eyes, turn off your monitor, look away for the next 6 seconds.
いいか、この俺を殺す気で来るんだぞ。
Okay, you can open your eyes, turn on your monitor, look back at your screen now.
それだ。その感覚を忘れるんじゃないぞ。
I needed an excuse for the Namekian to still be on Earth, because otherwise, what other reason would he have to abandon Namek after all he's done? Essentially, since he's also fused with Kami, that means he still has all the responsibilities of Kami, which involves protecting Earth. But I guess you could also say that he still has whatever responsibility. He still has the responsibility to protect the Namekian Dragon Balls back on Namek. The thing is, since the Namekian Dragon Balls have a password, you have to be able to speak their language. If no one is there, then they're not going to be used for anything, are they?
少しはマシな動きができるようになったじゃないか。
The background here is the same one from the thumbnail. I rotoscoped. This is from when Piccolo is fighting 17, as is this power-up you're about to see. And I just rotoscoped it here because the background in the original shows the sea. It shows a different landscape than where this battle is supposed to be taking place, which is the wastelands. This is actually from Cell's transformation. Yeah, so this is from Cell becoming Perfect Cell when he absorbs 18. It's so powerful that it actually dims the entire planet, which I think is a really cool idea to show how powerful a villain is. Aside from just shaking the entire planet, you can also see it from space. Okay, that's where the episode actually ended. This was a last-minute addition that I decided to add after I thought up the script and started making this. I just thought, oh wait, hold on. What if I add a little bit about what's happening with Goku? So, to explain where he's been this entire time.
聞いたこいつは期待外がありそうだ。
せっかくだからさっき教えた技も使ってみるといいぞ。
よし、ここまでにしとこう。2回戦だな。一応やっか。ゼンちゃんを怒らせる方がまずい気がすんだよな。ここで負けたら宇宙が消滅しちまうからな。気合い入れてけよ、パイクハン。しっかり休んでこいよ。いやいや、あいつも強くなってんぞ。ま、そのうちわかるさ。
Also in this scene, Gohan is also chilling with them. It's Gohan, Krillin, and Goku, but Gohan can't be here for the story I'm about to tell, so I just cut out every part that shows him. Alright, so Goku's tale is that Frieza's men destroys the spaceship, and then the Namekian Dragon Ball only has 2 wishes, and for some reason it can't send him back to Earth or fix the spaceship. I don't know if anyone actually pieced this together. I might have been too vague for this, but this is all because of Gohan. Gohan obviously hates Goku because of the training that he was put through, but he doesn't have the heart to actually kill Goku. So instead, this is part of why he felt so guilty when Chi-Chi was asking about Goku and why he said he didn't want to talk about it. All of this are things that he did. So what he did is after killing Frieza, he went and made a wish on the Namekian Dragon Balls. Well, first, he destroyed the spaceship. If you listen, you can actually hear the Super Saiyan aura in the background. You can, it's kind of muffled by the steam hiss, the machine sound effects, but that was intentional. That's Gohan when he's still Super Saiyan. So first he destroys the spaceship. Then he goes to the Namekian Dragon Balls and he has Dende help him translate this wish. He wishes that no matter what, Goku isn't allowed to be sent to Earth, or to fix the spaceship. Goku doesn't know that the Namekian Dragon Balls actually have 3 wishes, but Gohan just goes, he wishes for this, and then he gets on Frieza's spaceship with Vegeta and goes back to Earth. That's what's happening. That's why Goku wasn't able to get back. That explains what was going on. So instead, Goku... It's only Dende that knows about the horrors of what Goku's done. As far as everyone else knows, hey, you're not Frieza. You probably even helped us kill Frieza. He's gone now. Yeah, we'll help translate and help you get your wish done. So, he did.
こいつを舐めちゃいけませんよ。なんたって俺の生徒なんですからね。もしかして技の使い方がわからないのか？これが最後の授業だ。お前を襲う。教えた俺のとっておきの技で一気に倒してみろ。お前の実力を見せてもらうぞ。全力で来るんだ。
Krillin's purpose here is just to get the audience thinking. I wanted people to start formulating their own theories and try to consider what's going on, but I don't think anyone commented anything about this on the video. But that's all he's doing here. That's why he's been talking. I'm also showing Chi-Chi all alone just to show that both Goku and Gohan are out of the house. So hopefully you start thinking, where's Gohan? But again, that might be a little too vague.
へへ、おめえやっぱ強えな。さあ来なくちゃ。
Here, I have him mention that he's destroying the sleeping ones. Piccolo's destroying the sleeping ones, just so that it gives a reason for why 17 and 18 won't be showing up in later videos. So, the first two videos were setup. These are the changes we've made. This is what's going on. These last two videos, the Namekian Speedruns the Android Saga and Vegeta Speedruns the Boo Saga, the purpose of these is just to get people to start, or to show the results. There are consequences to your actions, and that's what's happening here. So 17 and 18 are going to be destroyed, which means Krillin isn't going to marry 18, obviously, which is one of the major differences between this timeline and the actual timeline.
やるな。こっからはもっと飛ばしていくぞ。
何してるんだ？
Remember in episode 1 when Nappa called Goku the psychic son? That is meant to foreshadow this. So this also lets me transition into Goku having visions of the future, because they did call Bardock psychic, and he does have visions of the Saiyan's destruction, so he has something like that, but we never see any premonitions from Goku. So I figured maybe a bonk on the head would trigger some of that latent ability, since a bonk on the head is what made him forget his past. I also use this grainy effect, and I desaturate the video to make it more obvious when Goku is having his visions.
お前強いな。まあそう硬くなるなよ。
にしてもルイスさんもすげえよな。二人も生き蹴らしちまうんだもんな。
He doesn't know if he has the strength to win. I'll say Goku is strong enough to kill Gohan here, but he's not going to. Because when they were doing their training on Namek, they went back and forth. In Goku's mind, he was just training Gohan, then Gohan would beat him up, then they'd both get healed up, and they were just doing that to increase both of their power levels. But as Gohan saw, Gohan was just trying to kill him so that he could stop getting tortured. But anyway, Goku would be able to sneak out the dub against Gohan here, and he does want to do it alone because it's a very confusing, conflicting situation to be in. He doesn't want to have to kill Gohan, obviously, but he doesn't want to be killed by Gohan either.
そんなことないっすよ。
おめえら強えな。今からありったけの気貯める。おめえは時間を稼いでくれ。
There's no point being revived if Gohan's just going to kill him again.
何おじけづいている。
I kept this text granulation and the desaturation in effect so that it's not as obvious who is talking to Goku at this point, because at this point we still haven't shown Gohan, but we'll slowly transition into showing Gohan's text color in just a moment. Also, the Rise Dad and the use of this song are both references to Attack on Titan when Eren is manipulating Grisha.
さあどうかな。このままだとこいつにやられちまう。あいつらをすべて片付けたのか。やるじゃないか。ほら、いいもんをやるぜ。待ってたぜ、この瞬間を。神様ジョークじゃないの。まったく。よせ。
This is from when Goku and Gohan are training in the hyperbolic time chamber to fight against Cell. Gohan has a nightmare that Cell is killing everyone who's important to him. So I just repurposed that as Gohan having a nightmare and Chi-Chi waking him up.
仲間割れなんてつまらねえぜ。なかなかやるじゃないか。その威勢もいつまで持つかな。狙いは同じってわけか。いいぞ、お前の真の力を解き放つんだ。
Most of these clips are from filler episodes when they're waiting between when Cell announces the Cell games to when they actually go to fight. The issue with this is that this is just after Goku and Gohan have unlocked Super Saiyan where it doesn't drain any stamina. So Gohan is constantly Super Saiyan and he's wearing the same outfit in a lot of these. I tried to find some where he was a little different, but he only, in all these filler episodes, he only wears 2 different outfits. If you haven't already noticed, Goku and Gohan of course have the same voice actress, and so I just used Turles for him for the same reason that I used Turles for Goku when he's committing evil deeds. He's a lot calmer and he's a lot more broody, which matches Gohan's mood here. The actual Gohan, he tends to either be crying when he's a kid, or his voice is just too energetic. So I used Turles here to try and show how sad he's feeling about everything that's going on. And he truly has suffered.
こっそり手に入れたとっておきの秘策があるのさ。新生児の実をいただいた時に。ああ、いいぜ。くそ、今日はここまでだ。おっと、それだけじゃねえぜ。
Foreshadowing for episode 4.
オラとの勝負はまだついてねえぞ。貴様だけは絶対に許さん。死にたくなければ失せろ。
I thought about Gohan saying, "Tell Uncle Raditz I said hi when you get to Hiffle," but I didn't have the room to add that, and I don't think I added it early on, but that was just another line that I thought would be nice because they don't talk about Raditz after he dies.
悪いけど一旦場所変えぞ。
And these are actually Goku's lines you can see over here. These are Goku's lines of him saying Kamehameha that I just used Goku because finding Gohan charging up a slow Kamehameha, it just wasn't sounding good. If you look closely, you'll actually see that Super Saiyan 1 Gohan instead of Super Saiyan 2. This is when he's transforming into Super Saiyan 2 when fighting against Cell.
とっくにご存知なんだろう。俺のガキに何の用だ。もういいだろう。てめえの実力は見せてもらって。
This is from when Goku says that he gives up, he quits when fighting against Cell. And that's when, this is from when Goku is teleporting Cell off planet because Cell's about to explode. Here, Gohan's about to start crying because obviously he's still conflicted. He doesn't want to kill his dad, but he's still having nightmares. No amount of counseling is really going to get them through this. Thought about adding him saying ha for the Kamehameha, but I just added the sound effect instead. And then again I add, hey, don't forget to check out the post-credits. And then finally, this is also foreshadowing for episode 4. I thought about adding the sound effect, but ended up leaving it because I figure it's probably good enough, especially when I show Kami's lookout. I think it's enough for people to understand what I'm implying there. And then we go back to Vegeta. He just can't win. There's a clip where Vegeta is in the sand after Gohan kills Cell, and he gets up and he shakes his head free, and I thought about adding that here to show he's being left in the dust quite literally, but I feel like this is better. It shows that even though he's finally achieved Super Saiyan, he's still nothing. And this... That's actually just me. I just breathed into my mic because the sound of Vegeta doing it wasn't clear. Anyway, finally, we're at the final episode. Vegeta speedruns the Buu Saga. It's time for Vegeta to shine, kinda. I didn't expect that it would take me this long to make the next episode. There's just a lot that was going on in my life that I had to obviously... I'm not going to allow things to get worse in my life just for the sake of posting these videos at a more consistent rate. So I took a break for making videos because I had other things that I had to deal with. And this was meant to be covered up by the text or the video that shows previous video, next video, you know, other stuff. But it ended up there's a frame where this is still shown before that actually fades in. So that's all that's about. So we're done. There's one more episode breakdown for me to do. The 106 Stand Proud Jogo. But we'll deal with that, and then I'll be out of excuses to not be working on Vegeta Speedruns the Buu Saga. That won't be posted until next year. So stick around for that. I do have other video projects and other series that I intend to do afterwards, but we'll talk about that at another point. Let's take a look at where we're at. We are 56 minutes in. Let's see if we can cut that down a little bit. Thanks for being here. Take care.